Mahalo, hi. My name is Tyler Buyukacar, and this is my senior capstone proposal for cultural art and appreciation. So, an overview of myself. My name is Tyler Buyukacar. I am a transfer student from Leeward Community College, and I now go and attend West Oahu. My homeschool is actually not typical. I am a homeschooler, but I was part of the early college slash running start program. So I did that at Leeward Community College and got my associate's degree in graphic designs or liberal arts and a certificate in graphic design. And my program at study here at West Oahu is creative media, and my concentration is general creative media. So here's the game plan. So executive summary, my plan for senior capstone, I will state my thesis statement, my objective and rationale for my research, and address the significance of my proposal and project. So my thesis statement is examining the complex connections between cultural art and appropriation. This thesis explores the transformation of artistic design through borrowing, revealing the complexities within cultural art. So my analysis is rooted in historical context and instances of appropriation, which aims to illuminate the delicate balance between appreciation and appropriation within art. I want to emphasize the potential for positive contributions to cultural dialogue and understanding, and the study that navigates the nuanced terrain of cultural art transformation. So here's my capstone plan. So my deliverable for the project aims to explore culturally inspired designs with specific context through a chosen media platform. So right now I have two options that I'm looking into. So one is a documentary style video that covers and documents my project and my journey. And my other option, if that one is too large, is a social media campaign that documents my project. My project will be informed by in-depth research and interviews with local cultural sources, with my designs reflecting a meaningful and traditional of contemporary elements. I would like to seek to engage and educate my audience, fostering a discussion around cultural appreciation and design inspirations. And I also want to consider ethical considerations and sensitivity and respect, especially around art and culture, because those are type topics and discussions that people are very sensitive about and they can get very triggered about. And so my ultimate goal is presenting a well-documented and impactful exploration of culturally infused designs. So my rationale for this project is to examine dynamic relationships between cultural art and appropriation. I seek to analyze instances of borrowing and transformation in artistic designs, and I want to illuminate complexities surrounding cultural art, specifically navigating the boundary between appreciation and appropriation. My emphasis is the potential for positive contributions to cultural dialogue, understanding through these transformations, and hopefully allowing artists to hopefully take cultural designs in a way that is appreciating the culture, but also pushing the boundaries of graphic design and art in a way that isn't limiting to them. So here's my significance. My significance promotes the importance of respectful engagement with cultural art, emphasizing the potential for positive contributions for cross-cultural understanding. My future implications that I can think of is preservation of heritage. So I want to promote the responsible engagement and preservation of the culture that is being used or cultures. I also want to create positive cross-cultural dialogue. So this encourages positive discourse between many different communities, fostering mutual understanding. And I also want to enhance global connections, so encourage the global community to collaborate among diverse cultures, fostering international bonds as well as respectful engagement. And I also want to just have artists innovate, encourage an invitation of blending traditional contemporary art for a dynamic art landscape that isn't known for doing the same thing, but actually creates diversity, especially in art, where diversity is such an amazing thing to see. And my second significance is showcase ways of creating culturally informed art that avoids appropriation. So this would be by providing examples and a way for responsible and respectful artistic expression. My future implications for this is artistic innovation, which is like the last slide is encourage innovative blending of cultures, artistic standards and guidelines. So the project may contain um, contribute to setting industry standards and guidelines, fostering ethical and responsible artistic engagement with diverse cultural influences. And I also want to impact the art market practices. So this project emphasizes on responsible engagement, which may impact the art market practices, especially the global art market, which is very big. And we'll see that in my data in a bit, but encouraging ethical production and consumption of culturally informed art is part of my goal, because I would like to educate. And then, oh, it looks like it was repeated, but artistic innovation. And then here's my data. So in 2022, the global art market generated nearly 68 billion US dollars, which makes it one of which makes it a very large platform, a very large market to tap into, which is why I wanted to do this project because art is such a big thing around the world. Even outside of the global art market, there's a lot of independent artists. There's a lot of artists in general, and so a lot of the dialogue that's been tossed around between artists about appropriation isn't something that actually has a lot of guidelines and a lot of laws that I could find that are very standard. So you'll have a lot of companies that will kind of walk a fine line between appropriation and appreciation. And so some companies do it a lot better than others, and they'll be very respectful about designs that they're using. But a lot of times, other companies like Supreme, um, and a lot of those companies will actually they'll have used designs maybe directly knowing or not knowing that they're appropriating the culture that they're taking from. And then another data was a study that was done, and it had had a multitude of scenarios, some being movies, music, hairstyles, so different types of art forms. And what they ended up finding was the study revealed differing perceptions of cultural appropriation between a majority and minority groups, with the minority group showing greater sensitivity of potential appropriative action. And the correlation between harm and intent led to the conclusion that both aspects contribute to the appropriation. So it was just kind of interesting. I wanted to include this because there is that sort of one side has more authority over the other on who gets appropriated. And while I couldn't find any statistics or graphs that really showed the correlation of this in an easy to understand way, I thought that this study kind of showed uh, that there have been studies that have been done that tried to delve into this topic a little deeper, even though it's something that still needs a lot more study. And so my target audience is prospective graphic designers and prospective oh, it repeats, but it was supposed to say prospective business owners and local business owners. Especially here in Hawaii, we have a lot of different companies. We have a lot of companies on the local level. We have big companies. And so there's this whole networking of business on Hawaii and especially around the world in different communities. And because here in Hawaii, we definitely have a lot of culture. We have a very rich culture. I wanted to explore or wanted to target my sort of project to graphic designers here who may want to use Hawaiian designs or Polynesian designs in their work, especially for a graphic design firm or for a company. You know, how do you go about appreciating the art that you're taking from without appropriating? And so that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this project was to kind of help my target audience understand through my journey how one can go about appreciating art. And so my proposed solution, so this project holds intellectual significance for a graphic design community by addressing responsible engagement with culturally inspired designs. It provides valuable insight and examples for aspiring graphic designers, fostering a deep understanding of cultural sensitivity in design and promoting ethical practices. So my preparation process, and this can go both ways for both the Instagram campaign and the documentary, but I kind of did both of them just because I'm not sure, or I could possibly do both of them together. So, so I could conduct preliminary research, you know, prepare my chosen media platform, and then create an outline, a draft, and also a schedule if I'm going to be posting. And then I also want to find an interview or find who to interview for my 4 local sources. And I have different ways of going about this, but one example would be artists on social media platforms that are already established, especially with well established with cultural art and blending that. And then also maybe other experts at maybe Bishop or Bishop Museum, or even just local artists who are freelancing, but they have a very rich knowledge of the culture here. Production would be film interviews, capturing shots, creating the art, and also start editing and prepare the post schedule. And then post would be polishing the video, creating a rough cut, then refining to a final cut, and then start posting for the Instagram reels or however that campaign is done. So my deliverable for social media campaign would be posts, primarily, possibly stories. And I would like to share videos showcasing the artistic process and methodology behind my cultural inspired designs. And then also conduct and share interviews connecting them to the inspiration behind each piece of the art I create. So that way there is a connection between the art that I do and the research that was involved in getting to that point. And that way any artist that sees my post will kind of have an idea of what I went through to go about making sure that my designs were well informed and were trying to appreciate the art that I was trying to do. And then my second deliverable would be a documentary style video. So document my exploration of creating culturally informed art that respectfully appreciates its inspiration, grounded in real feedback and local research. And this would again offer a guideline and a framework for different artists and business owners and my target audience to kind of connect and incorporate into their own work later on down the line or in their careers. And I think the reason why I kind of prefer a documentary style video is because there's also a lot more ways of creating a enjoyable but focused and scripted experience so that when my target audience watches my documentary, there's a sort of clear beginning and ending to my journey. And along the way, it's much easier for them to kind of see how that journey progressed over time. Whereas with the Instagram video, you can start uh, at the top of Instagram or Twitter. You can start at like the first post and then go on the bottom. So there's kind of no feeling of building up and kind of creating a guideline. So I'm leaning more towards the documentary styled video. So these are my citations and mahalo. Do you guys have any questions?